What's up?
So then, I'm sure you saw the debate.
Yeah,
Did you
I watched it.
you watched it or yeah? I was listening to it.
Yeah, it was a bunch of malarkey.
It was funny, man. I was like, holy
that's
crap! Dan called it.
a bunch of that's a bunch of malarkey. You know what's funny is a guy I work with. He texts me. He's like, "Hey," and He's always betting on everything. And they were doing bets on the debate, and he gave me a bunch of categories they were betting on, and one of them was how many times they would say felon. And I was like, "Well, they're going to say that one a lot. I don't know how many times the bet is, but they're definitely going to say that a lot." It turned out the bet was 4.5, and they said it 5 times, so he won. He's like, "Yeah, you won that one for us." I'm like, "There's no way they're not going to bring up the fact that they um, rigged the judicial system to indict and convict a former president as a political persecution." And sure enough, I'm the only felon. You're the only felon on the stage.
Yeah,
Well, your son's a felon. Yeah, but what about this felon? I was like, "Yeah, there it goes."
yeah. They definitely started getting childish towards the end, man. It was funny.
You know what I liked about that though, because and you're right, but did you notice that Trump? He kind of said it under his breath, but he definitely said it. He goes, hey, let's not act like children." So he's the one that put a stop to that.
Oh, really?
You
Yeah.
know, yeah. And Biden's talking about, yeah, I'll go golfing with you, and Trump's like, yeah, you can't even hit the ball 50 yards. And then did you see when he left the debate, he had to get help down
Oh,
little
yeah.
tiny stairs.
Yep.
It's like,
One
dude, you
step.
can't even walk. You can't
Yeah.
even walk, much less
Yeah.
uh, play golf. How would you play golf?
Well,
The guy's a pathological liar. He always calls Trump a liar, and he's like a pathological liar.
well. I mean, I'll be completely honest though, man. I thought Trump could have done better. I thought he could have just mopped the
I
floor.
agree.
Yeah, I think he could have mopped the floor with him, and I don't know. He must have been a little bit off. He just didn't have all the information ready. He could have destroyed Biden.
I think he did pretty well,
He
but
did okay.
in
Yeah.
contrast to Biden, he did. What I liked about him when he was measured, he didn't get upset. Um, he just stuck to it. He was very coherent. But yeah, I was listening to it, and I'm like, I could out debate either of these guys.
Yeah.
I really
Uh,
could because there's so much information there that you could have just used against him. It would be easy, and
yeah. There's a lot of.
he did it. He did it. He didn't use a lot of it. He did, but he didn't do it in the way I would have did it, which would be, much more to the point.
Yeah. Yeah, there was a bunch of times where I thought, "Damn, Trump missed this opportunity." I can't remember what the topic was, but I was like, "Damn, Trump could have said this right here. He could have
Yeah.
really used
Well,
those
they,
opportunities to just destroy him." But
but he did seize quite a few, and I'll give him that. He did hit him hard. And the funniest thing about that whole debate is I watched the whole thing, and afterwards I was like, well, for Biden, he did okay, right?
yeah, yeah,
You
he
know,
did.
and that's what I thought. I'm like, they're going to defend him, et cetera, right? And the next day, all his allies are like, "Oh, he's too old.
They
I
turned
don't
on him.
think he
Yeah,
can do the job." Right? And you know why? He's been speaking this way his whole presidency. It's been a shit show the whole time. Like he's been incoherent the whole time, and they've all seen it. And all of a sudden, they're acting surprised. But it's not because they're surprised. They've known this, and they've been running cover for him. But now the timing is correct. The convention's coming up. It's time to push him out,
yeah,
um, make Kamala the first female president of the United States ever. Democrats going to say, hey, we had the first black president, we had the first female president without one single vote for her. Now she doesn't have a mandate because she wasn't elected. So at the convention, it's up for grabs. And they'll probably put Gavin Newsom in there, and he'll probably get the nomination. Then you got Gavin Newsom versus Trump, which is a way better matchup for them. They get the first female president. They don't have to keep her. Then they get who they want, and they get Biden out. All
yeah.
it's a trifecta, right? So this is why they turned on him, even though this is exactly what he always does. Like you can't understand what he's saying half the time.
Yeah.
Um, so it's nothing new, but all they're acting like it is. Like they're all shocked. Like, oh my God, what happened here? Nothing happened here that doesn't happen every time he speaks, but the timing is different. They wanted it. They had control of him. They have control of him. And so the whole 3.5 years they've been running the government. He hasn't been doing anything. And now they can't run him because he's too old. Like he
Yeah.
can't do it, and they've known this the whole time. This plan has been in the works probably his entire presidency, if not for the last couple of years. That they're going to push him out, and he's probably going to agree to it. Like, yeah, okay, I'll do whatever you guys tell me. And Kamala Harris steps in, and then they have the convention. So it should happen before the convention,
Yeah.
and then Gavin Newsom all of a sudden is going to be blasted all over the news. He's going to be their darling. I think that's who it is, but it could be somebody else. But you'll
Well,
know real quick who they're pushing for it. I doubt it's going to be Kamala.
Well, it seemed like clear cut that that's what they're aiming at because yeah, I started after the debate. I was during my breaks. I started looking at all the Twitter feed, and everybody was posting all the clips from MSNBC and CNN. And sure enough, yeah, they're all saying that like, oh yeah, like they just completely turned on Biden.
Right.
But then they showed I found a clip of Newsom, and they asked him straight out if he'd be willing to step in, and he's defending Biden. He says we need to stick with them and we need to see it all the way through. Kamala Harris obviously defended him. She did an interview and she just said the same exact thing. And so the next day, I thought the whole day was going to be that just Democrats just still destroying, still trying to, still turning on him, talking about. But the headlines end up being like that Biden's not dropping out. He's in
Right,
the
because Kamala Harris and Gavin Newsom are going to be running for president at the convention after Biden steps down. So they can't go, "Oh yeah, you need to step down." It's a bad look. If they
yeah,
defend him, it's a better look, right? They're going to let the media and the other Democrats, like in the House and Senate and pundits and things like that, they're going to let them do the dirty work of
yeah,
going after Biden and being the bad guy. And then they look like the good guy of the party. Hey, we wanted to defend him, right? And but they're because they're running for president already, and they know it.
yeah.
So that's why they're saying what they're saying. Everyone saw what we saw. You'd have to be brain dead to think that Joe Biden could be president for 4 more years. He hasn't even been able to do it for the last four. So it's all about the timing, and they're acting that way so that they can run for president. Yeah, I defended Joe, and then Joe's going to step down. He's going to come on and go. You know what? I've served my country for however many years, my whole life, my whole adult life. I've been in Congress, the Senate, whatever. I've been a corrupt politician. He's not going to say that, but that's what he really means.
Yeah.
And it's time for me to, spend my twilight years with my family and my grandbabies and all this stuff, right? And then Kamala Harris and Gavin Newsom have the opportunity to go, you know what, it's been an honor, having Joe Biden, all this stuff. They're going to talk all this nice stuff about him at that point, and then they're going to step in and they're going to go at each other and run for president. And there'll be some others too, but I think Gavin Newsom will be the one the Democrat Party backs. But Kamala Harris is going to throw a fit about it probably. So you're going to see some fireworks there. But I think that's how it's going to play out. And
Well, that,
I've been saying this for 2 years. They're going to do this. It's a freebie. You get
yeah,
the first female president in the United States history. The Democrat Party gets this without a single vote, and you don't even have to keep her.
yeah.
You know?
Well, it seemed like for sure, like 'cause what I was reading, yeah, that they had a plan. Even the debate itself, I remember thinking it sounds like CNN's being a little harsh on Biden. Like they're like cutting him off, like they weren't giving him
But
any. They were treating him just kind
well,
of equal as Trump, and they're almost being lenient towards Trump in certain ways. Like they're
well, it
giving
was
him
a
time to
setup on
talk,
Trump.
and Trump was just cutting himself off. Like he would stop like before his time was up, and so I don't
Yeah,
know. It was
it was all designed to highlight Biden's dementia.
yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
it was intentional. CNN did that on purpose. Now they did save him a few times because they didn't want it to be too ugly because they like him. But they've been given their marching orders and they're marching, and it doesn't really matter. They don't have to do anything. He's going to do it for himself. So they're like, just let him go out there and be him, and it'll be obvious to everybody. And it's always been obvious to everybody. That's my point. All of a sudden they're acting surprised, but that was the whole plan, and that's why they were being fair about it, is because their main goal was to get Biden off the ticket.
Yeah.
It wasn't to beat Trump. Now they want to beat Trump, but not with Biden. So that comes later when Gavin Newsom and Trump are going at it. Then you'll see a lot of bias against Trump when if they have a debate on CNN or MSNBC. Then the debate will look a lot different. But this one, their main goal was They were actually after Biden.
Yeah. Yeah, no, for sure there was a plan for this because for them from one second to the next, a switch on them this hard because they were even fact checking them bad. Like they're fact checking them. They were just saying, watch right here. I'm looking at the Twitter feed. Gail King from MSNBC. They kept saying he had a cold. A cold doesn't force you to lose your train of thought. A cold doesn't force you to just throw things out randomly that made no sense for people. Like just words like that. They were never talking like that about him
Well,
before.
and
And
then
that
and the next day,
those are our
and the next day,
Republican talking points.
the next day, the guy who's too sick to debate goes out and does a rally.
Oh,
Right, because look, what's happening there is now the White House itself is trying to lie and say he had a cold.
yeah,
They are lying. And the reason they're doing that is because they're on Team Joe Biden, because this is their job,
yeah.
right? This is their job's at stake. The rest of the Democrat Party is like, no, we're against Joe Biden. We want him out. But the White House is going to try to defend him because if he's out, they're out.
Yeah. Well, no, just I just know for sure. Like a week ago, they would have said, "Oh yeah, of course he has a cold," and they would have just backed him up with that. They would have said that was his excuse. But now they're calling him on it. They're calling BS on that. The
Right.
media is at least. They
What
were
has he
never
had
like that. They were
has he
never
had a
so
three and a
critical
half
of him.
has he had a 3.5 year cold?
Yeah, really. Like
I
where the
mean,
hell were they?
that's the only explanation. This is nothing new. He always talks like this, and so it's like 3.5 years of a cold, apparently. I mean,
As
obviously they lied about that. The White House and the Democrats and a lot of the Republicans, all they do is lie. So
especially
if they're
coming off
speaking, they're lying.
right off the tail end of the past 2 weeks, them calling the videos of him at the G7 all deep fakes or some shit like that. It was all fake videos that and so they're trying to defend him that way. That now they're these videos of him just walking off and just staring off into the distance was all cheap fake videos that wasn't even real. And then from them to go from defending him that way to all of a sudden this now calling him on everything. Yeah, for sure, it's something planned, man. But I don't know. I can't picture. I was thinking about it yesterday. I think maybe they're gonna try to see if they can push him. He didn't do too bad at the debate, so I'm wondering if they're gonna try to push him just over the finish line, just get him through the end of the. This is kind of gonna make him look bad. It's gonna make him like a loser, all his decisions. They're gonna be justified that see he couldn't get through a debate, and the Democrats turned on him for that. Therefore, that means all of his policies, all 4 years, have been based on that. So you guys are to blame for that. We've been telling you how he was this whole time, and then you guys kick him out for that reason. Therefore, everything that's happened to the Democrats' fault. So I picture them trying to push him through. What they're probably just still planning on cheating some sort of way, getting him through
Well,
it,
they're
and then
not.
after that, I think Biden would even will be willing to step down. Now that he won, step down, let Kamala come in there, and then just have Gavin be the vice president, and boom, they got their dream team, and Biden took all the heat, he took all the shots. But that's I know there's a couple of theories, but I don't
I
know.
mean, that's okay. So the problem with that is that Biden's losing to Trump, right?
Yeah.
If they would have to rig the election to win, obviously. So
Well, they got their
if you
50
throw
million new voters. You got to apply that into the equation.
right, yeah, yeah. Yeah.
You
Well,
know.
and then also like he would lose in a open election. Even the Hispanics, it's like 50-50.
Yeah.
So all these people he's bringing across the border, they're now getting split. So it's not really helping him. So but if you put Gavin Newsom in with only a couple months to go, there's not a lot of time to vet him. He's a good looking guy. People are going to go, hey, it's not Trump and it's not Biden. We're tired of this crap. It's a very appealing thing to a lot of people who are on the fence that would go, you know what, we can go with this guy. They're not going to know any better unless you're from California. So, and I would say about the media, right? So it is odd, right, that they defended him so hard right up to the debate. There's nothing wrong with him like that. Scarborough's like, "F you if you can't handle the truth." Joe Biden's never been more cognitively there, no, never been sharper, never been more coherent, right?
Yeah.
He was saying that, and he's lying through his teeth. Just like a week or two before this, he's telling people, "Fuck you if you can't handle the truth."
Yeah.
But he's the one that's lying. And then, but why is he doing that? And then after that, turn around and say, yeah, you know what? When the information's been there, you've seen him all this time. It's no different. The reason is they didn't have their marching orders yet,
Yeah.
right? The people who are running things gave them their marching orders right at the debate
Yeah.
or right before it.
Yeah.
This is
Cause
what we're going to do now. And he didn't know this before because they're not running things. These are just puppets of the government.
yeah. And for sure they got for sure they got marching orders because it was like lockstep. CNN and MSNBC just completely went at them. They just completely just turned on Biden. Like, so for sure they got the message that we gotta start trying to push this guy out. But yeah, I was surprised to see the next day like that Biden said he's not dropping out. Did you see the after the debate the video of Jill Biden
Yep.
congratulating talking to him like a little 5-year old? You did so
Oh,
good.
Joey, you did so good with your numbers and letters. You
Yeah,
counted all the way to 10 and got all the way through Z.
yeah,
That's
that is,
good, Joey. Good job,
and,
Joey. Like it's
and
pathetically, it's sad. Like, and a lot of
yeah,
people are saying she should get brought up on charges of elder abuse, and that's 100% correct. It's
yeah,
disgusting.
yeah, for sure.
What kind of person is she?
Yeah, yeah. They're saying that it's all her. Like, I mean, I keep reading that that everybody thinks it's her that still wants to be in that, living that life, and that she's the one that really just encouraging them to stay in. But
Yeah, probably.
because yeah, I think she'd be able to persuade them to drop out if you know what I mean. Like if they had a heart, if they were just human beings, she'd be able to
Yeah, but
talk
they
them out of
don't.
it. But yeah, they got their own little plan, man. But yeah, yeah, that was just it. I mean, Trump did fine. He did what he did, but I thought he could have just done a lot better. But it's just I think he tried to wing it. I think he didn't go in there with just all the prep that he could have used. I think he just already went with his campaign kind of style of doing it, like just kind of freestyling it more than anything. And
Well, yeah, but at the same time, he wasn't like at a rally. Like he wasn't very loud and boisterous like he is at rallies. So I like that about him. He seemed presidential, but
yeah,
but yeah, there were opportunities missed there where I think he could have explained things better
yeah,
and really
yeah,
leveled him. But he did level him pretty good. I really like when he said it, and it's true. Yeah, think he really believes it. Is like, look, I wish this guy was a good president. I
oh
wouldn't
yeah,
have to do this.
yeah,
And I think that's 100% because Trump doesn't have any reason to be doing this other than the country's falling apart. He's a billionaire. He could go, you live a great life without having to take all this heat and do all these debates and get shit on and indicted and all this stuff. He could walk away and it all goes away and his life is fantastic again.
there's
So he's right. If Joe Biden was a good president and he actually cared about Americans,
yeah,
then we wouldn't have these problems and Trump wouldn't have to do it. So I like the fact that he said that because I think that
yeah,
was like the most honest thing on that whole debate was like,
yeah,
look, if he was a better president, I wish he was, and I think he really does.
yeah,
But he's just
yeah,
not a president that's for Americans. He's a president that's for the New World Order, the one world government, and a puppet of China.
yeah. Yeah, it made it for sure. It made it seem like he wasn't doing it because he's like a egomaniac and just wants to be at the top. And, he's only doing it to save the country. So I thought it was good, but there was a point where he asked Joe a direct question, and I thought it was a great question. It was like, why did you let 15 million people to this country? Like, answer me, Joe. And then I don't know if the moderators asked Joe a question and it kind of threw him off because I think they had a way of the way they were doing the questions and the way they were letting Biden like respond to Trump that I think for sure was a setup. But when after Trump asked him that question about why he let 15 million people in, Joe never answered it. He went off into something else and threw Trump off. So Trump never followed up on it. He didn't answer like he should have forced him to answer that question. Like, why did you let 15 million people or 20 million people in the country are going to let them vote? And he should have forced Joe to answer that question, but he didn't. He kept getting thrown off by all the little statements that Biden was making and the questions. So I was like, shit, that would have been great if he just didn't even, if Trump didn't even want to participate until Joe answered that question. Like, why the hell did you open the borders? Are you going to let these people vote or not? Like, that would have been great
Well,
if,
Trump answered his own question. He answered that question himself. He said, "You're either doing it because you want to destroy the country, or you want these people as voters."
it just would have been a great clip to finally, that's what everyone wants to know. Like, why the hell did you do it? So it would have been a
But
great clip.
he's not going to answer that question. And the only way he would answer that question if he did would be, look, these are migrants who are, um, you know, fleeing persecution and they're seeking asylum,
It,
and
that's what I would
and
think.
Trump put them in cages, and he said that, and it's like,
Oh,
dude,
that part too.
Trump, why didn't you come back and say when you were vice president,
Yeah.
you guys had babies in cages?
Yeah, that was your former boss that did that. Yeah,
Right.
that was another missed opportunity. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I was thinking that Biden might come back with that. Oh yeah, these are dreamers. I want to give them an opportunity because they're leaving persecution and all this. But Trump could have been like, all right, that's fine, but are you going to let them vote? You know what I mean? It's fine if you're going to give them asylum, but are you going to let them vote in the election? And I don't know. It would have been a good. I think it just would have been a good clip to see
Yeah, he
Biden try
wouldn't
to.
have answered that question. He wouldn't have answered if he's going to let
Yeah,
him
but
vote.
it would have at least it would have looked. You know what I mean? Like he would have been put on the spot and had a bad,
Right.
you know what I mean? But yeah, I mean, other things I guess that stood out. Yeah, I just thought I don't know, it just kept bugging me that every time Trump would say something that was good, a good quote, Biden, they would give Biden time to respond, like just clearly, like they would just wait, and then Biden would respond, and then right after Biden responded, they just kept going to a question. But then
Yeah,
it,
yeah.
it just felt
They
like
didn't
to me,
want Trump.
whenever Biden said something, they would then go with a question. They wouldn't let Trump respond right away. They just kept
Right.
throwing
No,
it
I
off like
noticed
that.
that too.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
almost.
noticed that.
So yeah, they still, but they still seem sort of fair. You know what I mean? I think Trump was still trying to kind of talk to him like regular people. He kept calling the guy Jake by his, calling him Jake, and I don't know.
Yeah, I would say on the immigration thing, real quick though, is so when Trump said you're either letting them in to destroy the country or to get them to vote, it's both. They
Yeah,
want to they want to drop the middle class down. They're trying to strip Americans of their wealth and buying power, and therefore their voice. And they also want them to be voters for the Democrat Party, but it's backfiring on them on the voter part because uh, half Hispanics now are voting Trump.
yeah,
So, for everyone coming across the border, one's a Trump voter, one's a Biden voter. So it's a wash. But destroying the country, they're still getting that.
yeah,
And that's the main goal is to undermine the country. And I don't know if you saw this, but about a week ago, the country coordinator for the State Department is caught on hidden camera admitting this. He said, the reason the borders are open and people are coming in is because we're trying to change the demographics of the country. So the United States government is openly admitting, the State Department's openly admitting that the reason they're doing it isn't for humanitarian reasons, it's to change the demographics of the country. And then he said, and the reason it's so many criminals coming across the border is because all these countries are letting opening up their prisons and saying you can stay in prison or you can go to the United States. And everyone's like, well, I'll go to the United States. So Trump is right that a lot of criminals are coming across the border. It's not all, but it's a massive amount. And so the United States government on hidden camera openly admits that they're trying to take the Americans' voice away, their vote away, and give it to foreigners.
yeah.
And
Well,
so this is why there's no debate on why they're doing it anymore. And this clip is out there if you want to look it up. It's the country coordinator for the State Department on hidden camera talking about why the borders are open and why they're allowing it. And he states emphatically this is why, and he's laughing about it.
there's a clip of Biden saying the same thing. Like I think back in like 2017, he's like right next to Alejandro Mayorgas, who ends up being the border whatever secretary. And he's
Homeland
saying that he's
Security.
saying that I forgot how exactly he phrased it, but he said at some point the white man is gonna be the absolute minority. And then he's like, but
Right.
that's not gonna be a bad thing. And he says it like that. That's not gonna be a bad thing. It's gonna be our strength. So what the
And
hell does he
the
mean?
weird thing, the weirdest thing to me is that's coming from a white man.
Yeah, well, that's what everybody thought. You're just kind of like,
Like what does he look in the mirror and go, I hate myself.
yeah,
You're a
like it's
bad person.
self hating. But I think
Like you
it's
choose what color you're born.
but think about it. This is back in 2017, and now the what he said is played out has been played out, and yeah, they let in 20 million basically new voters from like the worst parts of the world, criminals, and they probably for sure just told them, yeah, as long as you vote Biden, you're good. Like just get
They don't.
Biden.
I don't think they tell them that. They just assume that's going to happen.
No, there was a pamphlet. I guess for they found that like it was in Spanish. They found pamphlets basically telling them like what to do once they get into the country. Like, and it's
Oh, okay.
yeah, they're like these those NGOs. Yeah, they're all and those NGOs are the evil ones. Those are the ones that are being funded by the I think I don't know if it's the UN or some shit like that, but yeah, like it's the plan basically that's going on in every all the countries all over the world, man. Like, but yeah, they had instructions on who to vote for, like in different languages and stuff like that.
Yeah. Well, it wouldn't surprise me.
As far as the migrants, the one that really what they're saying is the most is the Chinese, man. Like, I'm wondering how the hell that could happen. I thought China was had like restrictions on their like I mean people leaving their country and stuff like that. So
Why
authoritarian.
would why would China not want Chinese people coming to America and taking over America?
No, yeah, nobody's asked that question. Like, that country. It's so much surveillance. How the hell did that many people get out of the country like that?
The Chinese government is doing it themselves, of
Yeah,
course.
no, yeah, exactly. But now what the hell's
I
the
mean,
point? What's the purpose?
Ch- China is funding our universities, billions of dollars to our universities, brainwashing our kids, propagandizing our youth into communism. They're opening up police stations in cities around America. They're buying up farmland and other land. They're paying off Biden. Hunter Biden got it just came out. I already knew this because I seen it in Congress, but the news is out there now that Hunter Biden's taken millions from Chinese corporations,
Yeah,
and the Chinese are now going to try to flood America with Chinese citizens because they're going to do. Uh, they're going to act. They're basically they already have their people here. All right,
yeah,
so they're just trying to change the United States into a communist regime and make us a puppet state of China, and that's what's going on. And China is paying off politicians and universities around the world. In Canada, same thing. Trudeau taking millions from China. Their universities also taking our billions from China, right? So this is happening, and they're doing it everywhere. But they're buying up all kinds of land here. They're flooding our borders with Chinese nationals. They're, you know, they're paying our universities billions of dollars. And what do they get? Well, why would they give? Why would China give United States universities billions of dollars? The only reason is if the universities are going to do their bidding, which is like, hey, change your philosophy from capitalism to communism,
yeah.
or the money gets cut off. And so that's why you see all these students going, acting the way they're acting because they're brainwashed and propagandized by Chinese money given to administrations and professors in universities who teach them uh, while they're still young Chinese propaganda.
No.
So it doesn't surprise me at all that Chinese are coming across the border. You got everybody coming across the border. You got terrorists coming across the border. They said the other day that they caught like what was it? They know that like 400 ISIS linked terrorists or
Oh yeah,
ISIS. Yeah,
never see that.
how are with ties to ISIS? How the hell do you have ties to ISIS if you're not ISIS? You're either ISIS or you're not. In other words, what they're saying is ISIS is here in a lot of numbers, and but we're going to try to make it like, well, that it's
They
just
lived across the
Mohammed
street from
who
them.
it's Mohammed who's the neighbor of ISIS.
Yeah,
No, he is ISIS.
yeah,
So you're gonna have terrorist attacks here, and they might come before the election if it's going bad, but they're going to do it anyway,
yeah.
and it's a nightmare what's happening. And Trump's right. It's a nightmare, and we got the people that drive me the craziest are the middle-aged and older Americans who are out there going, I'm voting Biden. Trump's a bad guy. Your country is being snatched from under your feet while your bleeding heart is ruining your logic. Like
Yeah.
you have like you're like they're just like, so moronic.
Yeah.
Like what's going to happen to your children and your grandchildren, dummy?
Yeah.
Right? They're not going to be able to buy a house. They'll be lucky if they live in a free society because of your dumb shit. I feel bad for being white. Uh, I have a bleeding heart for everybody. But these people aren't nice people. They aren't interested. They're lying to you about why they're doing what they're doing. They say they're doing it because they care about people. They're doing it for power and money. Oh my God, it's so
Yeah.
amazing to me that people. How do you tie your shoes?
Yeah.
I don't get it.
Well, I mean, I guess I would just hope again back to the media, man, that they would just call it out, like they would just put all those pieces together that you just explained. Like basically, China's invested so much money here. They got all this farmland. So basically, these people crossing, if it's a setup, these Chinese people are just going straight to these farmlands. They're getting jobs right away. They're getting situated. They're going to be protected. If they're already saying, like you had mentioned in the past, that there's police stations, Chinese-run police stations.
There are. It's in cities where the Chinese population becomes the majority. Then they set up a Chinese police station.
Yeah, so
It's not
these
even an
people,
American police station. Chinese police stations in America. True fact. Look it up.
so these
This is
Chinese
this is
people,
this is what your bleeding heart is doing. You're. Oh my! It's just unbelievable.
so the migrants
People
for
can be this stupid.
the Chinese migrants for sure are being utilized for something. They're gonna have some sort of plan for them. Like they're not gonna just
Well,
let
these
them.
aren't these aren't Chinese citizens fleeing communism. These are Chinese citizens the communist government is sending
Yeah, no,
because they
that's what I'm
agree with
saying.
the Chinese government. It's not ones that are fleeing. The ones that want to flee aren't allowed to leave. The ones that want to go and perpetuate Chinese propaganda and set up shop in the United States and take over communities, right, and then grow them, those are the ones they're sending. This
Yeah,
is intentional. This is an intentional overthrow of the United States government by China, and the United States government is complicit in it because China is paying them millions and billions of dollars.
yeah, yeah,
They're
man.
buying politicians, they're buying farmland, they're buying cities, they're buying everything here. And if you think about it, look how stupid we are. Like everything you buy in the store, 90+% made in China. So you go to work in your capitalist society, so called, you make your money, then you take your money and you buy a Chinese product, and it's a communist regime, and so you're giving a lot of your money back to China, and then China takes your money and then buys your fucking land, buys your cities, buys
Yeah,
your students, your universities with it, and
your
they're taking over
politicians.
that way. They're not taking over with the military war, they're taking over with infiltration.
Yeah,
And we're paying for it.
yeah. Somebody wrote a book. I was listening to this podcast a while back. Seth Holhouse. He has a podcast called Man in America. He interviewed some guy that wrote a book that he's been like studying this for like a long time, and he says that the Chinese do. They've had a plan for a long ass time to take over the U.S. farmland. That they can't grow food in their country the way they could in our country, and that they've always had a plan to do this, to do exactly what they're doing right now, is buy farmland and dominate U.S. farmland for themselves.
Right. Well, if you control the food, you control everything.
Yeah, but shit, I
Right?
just
You
don't get
can't eat.
how
You
they allowed
can't
that
eat.
to
You can't.
happen.
You either get on board with us or starve to death.
Yeah,
Well, they allowed it to happen because China's given these guys billions of dollars. Like all these politicians are being given money from China to do what they want and say, you know what, go ahead and let that bill go through. Here's a couple $1 million for your campaign, right? And so these politicians are getting rich. Like our politicians, it's a super lucrative job. It shouldn't be. They're public servants, but they're all becoming millionaires and billionaires off of uh, their position as an elected official.
yeah,
And these people don't have any morals, and at the end of the day, when China buys everything up, they're still going to be okay because they got lots of money, and so they're part of it, so they'll be okay. But to the bleeding heart liberals out there who are in their 40s and 50s and 60s, it's like absurd. You realize what you're doing to your kids and your grandkids? They're going to be, you guys are all going to be slaves to China and not be able to eat unless you do what they want, and that means support communism. which
Yeah.
means you get no money, right? You get what they give you, period. And that's what you're doing to your children while you're out there going, white people bad, Trump bad, right? He's the only one that's fighting for you. And you're attacking the guy who's fighting for you while the enemy is taking over.
Yeah.
It's insane.
So
I
it's
mean, I
clear.
don't even know. It's weird to me. Like, how could you? How could you? I mean, you got a brain in your head. Doesn't it work?
Yeah, no. So it's just basically clear cut. They're just selling out the country. They're just completely just letting it
Yeah. Yep.
fall apart.
Yep.
That is crazy,
For
man.
money. For money. Yep. China's using capitalists against capitalists, right? They're using capitalism against us. They're saying, "Hey, these guys all like money. Well, let's pay the people in charge off. Let's indoctrinate their children with money. Let's just throw money at them. That's what they want, and then they'll do what we want." And that's exactly what's happening.
It's just surprising how many people have just gone in on it. You know what I mean? I just gave up. Basically, like the majority of the media have given up and just sold out. Majority of the
They didn't
Democratic
give up.
Party.
They got paid. They're getting paid to do it as well.
Well, no, just give up on the country. Just basically sell out and just know that they're just letting
Yeah,
the
but they're
country
doing it.
fall.
They're doing it for money. They're gonna be very. I mean, if you're on a major news network like like the two that did the CNN, I'm sure those guys are millionaires. That guy and girl, I'm
Yeah,
sure they're millionaires. They're getting paid very well to do China's bidding and the New World Order or the One World Government's bidding. They're doing very well, and so when it all falls apart, they're still going to have a nice house, a fence around it with security and all. They're still going to have everything they had before. They're not going to have any problem getting food or anything they want.
no,
So they and it really what it comes down to is right and wrong or morals. For them, that doesn't come into play, right? No God, no morals, right? So just get what you can, and if it hurts millions and billions of other people, so what?
yeah,
You and your family are good. You've secured your future. Who cares about theirs?
yeah. I guess, yeah. I guess if that was a situation, if that was what was presented to them, that you still get to live this millionaire life, and all you're doing is crushing the middle class, these people that you still don't even want to be around. Even now, you don't want to be around them. Like, then what the hell do they got to lose? Nothing. Like they're gonna be hurting people that they don't even want to be around right now anyway. So I guess
Right.
that
Well,
makes sense.
well, it's not even whether they like them or not. Like I said, the bleeding heart, middle-aged and elderly and the adult liberals who are on board with this, they don't care about them either, right? Because they don't have any compassion or empathy for other people. All they think about is getting theirs, and theirs is being secured by doing what they're doing, lying to America, perpetuating Chinese propaganda. They're going to get theirs, and they're going to be fine. So the people who are watching these news shows and supporting these people don't even realize these are the people who are trying to crush you.
Yeah,
They're not actually trying to crush you. They don't care. Right? Whatever happens to you, they just don't care. You do well, you do well. You don't do well, you don't do well. But at the end of the day, it's obvious you're not going to do well. They are. And so for them, without right or wrong in their mind, morals, a moral compass, which only comes from God, if you don't have that, then anything is okay. They don't care.
yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
But
and don't get me wrong, the Republicans and the conservative or the Trump supporters, yeah, they do want to crush them because they don't like them. But my point is that half the country or so is people that they do say they like, but they don't care. They are willing to destroy you and your kids and your grandkids' future for their future.
yeah,
And that's exactly what they're doing while you're cheering it on. It's stunning to me that you can get millions of people to be this blind.
yeah, for sure. There's a clip. I'm not sure if this is it. I'm looking at the Twitter feed right now. It's pretty funny. It just showed all Biden's kind of stumbling through the debate. Let me see if I can play this.
Especially the one where he's like he rambling on and loses his train of thought, and then afterwards Trump's like, I don't know what he just said at
Yeah,
the end of that.
yeah,
I don't know what he said, so I don't know how to respond to that. I don't think he knows what he said, but I'll just tell you this. And as he was stumbling, then they just cut him off. They're like, "Thank you, Mr. President." They saved him, but they let it go long enough to be embarrassing,
yeah,
but then they cut it off before it got pathetic. It
yeah,
was pathetic, but they cut it off before it went too far in
yeah.
their minds. So they wanted to hurt him, but they do like him, or he's been doing what they want. So they didn't want to crush him. So if they would have left that mic on and let him keep going, oh god,
Uh,
he was completely lost.
Let me see if this is it. Quick, hold on. Let's get a freaking play. Let me see. Oh, yeah, I don't know if it's working.
Yeah, I don't hear it.
Oh, damn it. Yeah, I messed it up. I should have said it earlier. Oh, there it is. If I put this, you hear that?
No.
Yeah, that's. I think it's only on my side. I don't know how's it
Well,
working.
we know what they said. I mean, it's not like we can't tell people, and I'm pretty sure most people
Now this
listening
isn't even it.
also heard it.
Nah, there was just a video that I thought it was funny. They put like some music, like some scary music behind it, and it's just Joe just rambling on, man. It was pretty funny. Yeah, I can't find it anyway. Well, anyway, well, yeah. I thought I thought it was an okay debate. I mean, it was funny at the end. Yeah, they were just, oh no, you're the worst president. No, you're the worst president ever.
Yeah, yeah,
It just went.
yeah. Well, what's funny about that is I think Biden said there's 159 or 160 historians or Nobel laureate historians
Oh
or
yeah, yeah, I
something
heard
like
that.
that, and he's like, and they agree that you're the worst president. So what? There's a billion Chinese that would agree with that too.
Yeah,
It doesn't. That's just someone's opinion,
yeah.
right? Like it doesn't hold water at all. Like at the end of the day, you
The nu-
both been president for almost 4 years. He's been president. Trump was for 4 years. The
no, the
price of everything was
yeah, the
just
numbers don't lie.
substantially
The num
lower under Trump, and the price under Biden is substantially higher. Right? He's killing you in your pocketbook, and still
yeah.
you're like, yeah, but I care about Eduardo from Venezuela who just got out of prison. We need to put him up in a luxury hotel and throw a veteran on the street and kick a black guy out of his job because that would be the nice thing to do.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
Like,
for sure. The Trump took the bait a bunch of times, man. Like he was kept getting. You could tell he was getting mad over some of the statistics or some of the facts that Biden was trying to claim. Yeah, he should have just ignored that and just started just stating basically just all the numbers. Oh yeah, well, well, and he was, but he's just kind of doing it angrily and in response, not necessarily just.
I don't know. I didn't really, my interpretation was like, I didn't think he really even got angry. I mean, I noticed him kind of smirk a few times when Biden was saying stuff, but, for the most part, I was kind of impressed with how measured he was.
Yeah, that's
Like
what they were
it,
saying.
it, it was, it was unlike Trump. When he normally speaks, he's like, getting really loud and boisterous, and you know what I mean. He was
Saying
very much more
the
calm
format
and
the format
measured.
might have helped them to just stay quiet. Basically, yeah, it just kind of kept him controlled and just more focused on what he had to say. But
I think he came in there with that plan. Like he's like, I'm gonna be more presidential because this is more of an official sort of thing than a rally. So I don't think it was so much the format. I think he came in with that in mind, and that's basically what he did. I didn't see him. I don't remember him getting mad. Um,
I
I
was,
think the thing that got him the most pissed off was when Biden tried to claim he had a six handicap. He was like, "What the fuck you say?
yeah.
Hey, dude, you don't got no six handicap." Like that shit was funny. Like,
His bet.
yo, well, no, well, yeah, it's an eight handicap. He's like, no, no, you can't. I seen your swing. Give me a
Trump better not
break.
play him, man. Trump better not. I better not hear like in a week or two that they're actually gonna play it.
Biden couldn't play golf. He can't walk down a set of stairs.
Yeah, no shit. Yeah.
I mean, it's
It
like,
wasn't
you
even
know
a
what I
set.
mean?
It was
Like
one
Biden,
step. That fool couldn't step down. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, he had to go sideways and hold his wife's hand while she was telling him how good he did on his numbers and letters.
Patting him on the ass. Yeah.
And that's the president of the United States.
Yeah.
You morons who voted for him. I don't care. I mean, I probably should be nicer about this, but look at what you did.
No.
I mean, I don't really want to be nice because I want to be nice, but at the same time, you guys have gone out there and cheerleaded the destruction of the United States and your own families,
Yeah.
your own kids, your own grandkids. Uh,
I
and
was. There's some of them that are still like, yeah, Biden's okay. He's a good guy. We're still going to vote for him. Good guy or not, he can't do the job clearly, and he's been taking money from China clearly. Yeah.
Like he's selling your grandkids' future to the Chinese.
Yeah. No shit.
Ah, I get started on this. I get mad
I
because
actually think
it's just so disappointing.
Trump might have done a lot better too if he'd had a crowd, if he'd had some of his people in there cheering, and whenever anytime he said anything, he would have fed off of them. But damn, that was just a boring fucking debate. I mean, as far as like the setup, it was just so.
I mean, I don't know. I kind of liked it. I thought it was
Yeah,
good. I thought Trump did very well. The only thing is I would say about Trump is like he missed some opportunities and he didn't explain some things as well as he should have. You
yeah,
know, like I watched it and I was like, man, if I was in his place, I could have broken this down way better.
yeah.
But I liked how he kept his demeanor. He looked presidential, sounded presidential. His focus was there. Um, yeah, and I don't mind that it's boring. I don't think presidential debates should be entertainment. So I thought it was I liked the debate. I thought it was pretty good. I was surprised CNN was that um, didn't go after Trump harder,
Yeah, they're
but
fair. They were.
I didn't know the next day they were going to flip on Biden. I mean, I knew eventually they were going to push him
But
out, but I didn't know their timing because
that
I don't
explains it though.
know.
Yeah, that explains why
Right.
they're being
So
fair. Cause
right, that explained it. Their target was Biden, not Trump.
yeah, yeah,
I mean, they're both were their targets, but they were like, "Hey, today we need to do what the deep state wants, and that's let Biden just make a train wreck of himself because he'll do it on his own, like he's been doing his whole presidency whenever he speaks, and then we'll act surprised, like we've never heard him speak like this before. He
they could
always
have
speaks like that.
they could have done.
I've heard him speak way worse, and they were like, "There's nothing wrong with him."
Yeah,
Well, if he spoke worse in the past and there was nothing wrong with him, how is this all of a sudden a problem?
yeah. They could kill two birds with one stone by making Trump look bad and made Trump and Biden look bad. I think they were kind of they were called out though that week. I don't know if you saw the clip of Trump's press secretary, Dana, not Dana, what the hell's her name?
Oh,
She was seeing.
Kaylee McCaney or what
No,
McCanny or something.
I don't know if there's
Yeah, the
that's her
blonde
name.
girl,
Yeah, and then she got cut off of CNN.
Kylie or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, her. Oh, her. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
I forgot her
yeah.
name. Yeah, so she started calling out
CNN's
CNN
like,
on
hey,
CNN that
how
that
dare
they're
you come on here and have an opinion different than CNN? Don't you know we're Chinese propaganda? We're the Chinese news
yeah,
network.
and they cut her off. Proof
You're talking about capitalism.
They
This
cut her
is a
off,
communist
proving her
network.
point that they're biased. Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah, yeah. So, so maybe they kind of CNN probably checked themselves a little bit and just try to seem a little bit fair, knowing that their target the whole time anyway is Biden. So they're just like, all right, Trump, this is
Well,
yours to lose. You
okay,
know,
so the
and
way their plan here, what it looks like to me was like we're going to let Biden go ahead and make a fool of himself, and then we're going to call him out on that, and then we'll get him replaced. We'll start that path going, and then the next day we'll say, hey, our fact checkers, Trump lied about everything, and then we'll go after Trump the next day on fact checking. Fact checking is nonsense. You got partisan hacks who have a political bias who say Trump lied. Now they said Trump lied about Pelosi um, taking responsibility for January 6th and turning down the 10,000 National Guard troops. Both these things are fact and they're on tape.
Yeah.
and they said he lied about it. We fact checked him. Well,
Really?
Pelosi admitted it. Yeah, Pelosi admitted it that she turned down the 10,000 National Guard that Trump wanted at the Capitol because he saw this coming, and because she wanted it to go bad.
Yeah.
And so she turned down security that would have kept it from going bad, and she admitted it on tape. So they fact check him. It's on video, right?
Uh,
It is true. So my point is that during the debate we'll let Biden fall apart. Then the next day we'll say Trump lied about everything. So we'll go after both of them just in different ways. And we're not going to go after Trump during the debate because we're going to look like bullies, right? He's saying we're fake news and we're unfair. So if we do it during the debate, that's only going to reinforce his point. So we'll try to treat him kind of fair. But the next day, we'll just say he lied about everything, even when it's on video, and now they're lying about it. They, who's fact checking these fact checkers who are liars?
yeah. No. Yeah. I was just surprised that that same night they fact checked Biden too. Like everything he was saying, they went down the line of all the things that they thought he was lying about.
Right, because they're trying to get him out too, though. And
Yeah.
in one of the things he lied about that was the biggest thing, and I think it's the most important issue for the country, is the inflation because it causes the price of everything to go up, and so that's why the price of everything is so high. Is because intentional inflation by the United States government, Chinese backed, to strip you of your money. And Biden said when I came into office, inflation was 9 point something percent. Well, it's actually like 1.2 or 1.4 when he took office. So that was completely false. So the price of everything was way low, and the inflation was very low. Biden's presidency, it's gone up to 9 point whatever, and so that was a complete lie. And
Yeah.
they probably did fact check him on that because now they want him out. I don't know if they did or not, but I think they probably would have because why not? But if it hurts him, it's good.
It was just surprising, man.
Actually,
Just,
after I
just
was surprised the next day when they went after him, but then it was clicked right away. Okay, the convention's in August, so we're only a month and a half, 2 months away from the convention. It's the timing. We're going to go after. This was the timing that they had planned for a long time ago. I didn't know exactly when they were going to do it, but I've been saying for a couple of years they're going to push him out, and they're going to put Kamala Harris in, and then they're going to run Gavin Newsom, and they're going to back him. It's a no-brainer. Why wouldn't you do that? That is a great plan. And Gavin Newsom probably will win.
I don't
Biden
know.
won't. They probably won't even have to rig the election for Gavin Newsom because it'll be people are there's so many people will fall for the he's a good looking guy and we're in high school. That's their people's mentality. Like it's class president time, right? And they're not even going to look at his policies and if they wanted to, they're not going to have a lot of time.
Yeah, that's what they're probably relying on. Because I was about to say, yeah, Biden, Newsom is a more condensed version of Biden. Everything Biden did to the country, Newsom did to the state. So all they have to
Right.
do is just say that whatever you look at California, look how bad it is right now, and that's what he's gonna do to the whole country. But if they don't have enough time to research everything, yeah, they might get a bunch of votes, a bunch of really
And a lot
stupid
of people
votes.
won't research it. They'll take a look at him, say, "Oh, good looking guy. Check. I'm voting for him." Done. It's not Biden and Trump. We're out of that era. A good looking guy. That's all they'll need.
Yeah, I mean that would make sense.
So if they didn't do that, you could have Biden running for president who can't walk, can't talk, can't keep a coherent thought, or you could have Gavin Newsom running for president who's very coherent, good-looking guy, just a piece of crap. They're both
Yeah,
pieces of crap, but one guy, you can understand what he's saying and he looks good. The other guy looks terrible and you don't know what he's saying. Who are you going to run?
the only other thing I remember seeing, I saw a clip yesterday from Charlie Kirk. He posted that a bunch of states, it's already too late to get Biden off the ticket. That there's certain states where they already passed that date.
Okay, well, if Biden steps down, what are they going to do? They
Yeah, that's
have to get
true.
him off the ticket. He's not running.
Yeah, if
You
he
know what I mean?
voluntarily, yeah, that's true.
I mean, the convention hasn't happened. They don't have a nominee yet.
No, well then maybe
The
that would apply
nominee, the
only if.
nominee's not dec- the nominee's not decided by the primaries. It's decided at the convention. Even if you win all the primaries, but the delegates at the convention vote for somebody else, that's the nominee.
Yeah, and it
So
could.
until the convention happens, you don't have a nominee yet. And even Trump's not the nominee yet. The Republican convention can nominate somebody else if they want to, even though he won all the states in the primaries. It's like the electoral college, but it's at the convention. It's the delegates who are sent from those states that
That's
cast their votes.
that's what I think Nikki Haley's plan is. that, that she's hoping
Yeah,
they
maybe.
switch to her.
I mean, but it's not going to happen with the Republican debate, but with the Biden, I mean, convention, but with the Democrat convention, I think Biden will step down before the convention. If he doesn't, they're probably going to vote against him.
So
Like,
it's a
so they're going to give him a choice. Look, you're out one way or the other. Don't make this hard on you because we'll make it dirty and we'll expose a lot of stuff that the American people don't know yet about all the money you've taken from foreign interests and how corrupt you are. We'll do what we have to do to get you out, or you can step down in a good way and say, you know what, uh, I'm getting too old or whatever, and I want to spend time with my family, something like that.
yeah,
I think it's time for somebody else to take over, and then he'll endorse probably Gavin Newsom or Harris.
yeah.
But it has to happen by the convention or at the convention.
The convention's in August. You said Democratic.
Yeah, yeah.
So they'd have August,
It's only a month and a half or 2 months away.
September, and October. They'd have 2 months. So basically, if that was to happen, the Republicans would have 2 months to just basically just try to destroy Newsom because I think Kamala would be easy, but people would be voting for the Newsom part of it. So they could do it though. I mean, I think they could put out enough information, just show basically what happened to
Oh
California.
no, oh no, they could do it, but what I'm saying is that a lot of people are so much like sheep that they'll just go, "Hey, it's not Trump or Biden, it's a younger guy who's good looking." That's all that's it. That's it. They're checking the box.
Did you ever see the clip?
Even if bad stories come out, they'll just ignore them and go, "Whatever."
Did you ever see the clip? They asked Newsom straight out, like, how come when he became governor, there was a there was a surplus of money, and now we're in a deficit. And
Yeah.
he tried to explain
I
it, and
didn't see it, but
it's like, oh my god,
oh,
he's,
I did see it, and they
he talks
ruined
for
it.
like 2 minutes and doesn't even do the, and the even the interviewer, the reporter says he didn't answer the question. Like he talks for like 2 minutes about fucking I don't know what the hell. He just a big word
He's like,
salad.
look, the minorities, in our state, all he tried to do, I remember basically what he tried to do was
No, didn't he
divide on
blame it? I
race.
think he blamed it on climate change. I think.
Well,
I think
probably that too, but
yeah, I think.
I know he definitely brought race into it. They go to their
Or
buzzwords,
was that? Yeah, racism. It was something stupid. Like
Yeah,
so.
and people fall for that all day long.
Yeah, I think as long as you say something, it's effective, man. They must have realized that all you got to do is talk, and people don't
Yeah,
really.
if you bring up race, people bite on that. Like they just have a knee jerk reaction to that, and they're like, well, yeah.
Uh,
Um, I'm this color, so yeah, those people are bad. We're good. And really, who's the racist? It's the people like Gavin Newsom who bring that up in an attempt to divide. They do it intentionally to divide you. Like, think about this. Like, even at our work, we had what was it? Equality Month or something, right? Diversity and Equality Month. The majority of our work isn't even white. So when have you reached your goal? Like in the country too. When are when is equality and diversity achieved? It's for them. It's never because if it's ever achieved, they can't win. They need racism and division in order to win. And so, once again, you guys out there that are falling for it, it's like they are playing you like a fiddle.
yeah. No, I mean it's just you already know. We've talked about it a bunch of times. There's just people out there that don't really follow politics, man. But there's a lot of people, and and their vote. Those are the undecideds. Basically, that's what it is, no? The undecideds that call themselves, oh, I'm undecided. The people that get interviewed and all that. I'm like, you guys really are like nitwits. Like, like
Yeah.
how do you not
Yep.
put little things together? Like, oh, I haven't decided my vote yet. What was I gonna say? Yeah, I mean, just as far as Newsom, and they just got to talk about that. They just got to talk about how he destroyed the economy of California, how much money they spent on homelessness, and homelessness has increased. What was it, like 30 billion or some shit, some big number like that, and homelessness has actually increased. So where the hell did all that
Well,
money go? Like,
there's 50 states in the union. California has 25. One quarter of all homeless in the country is in California.
uh,
Go ahead and vote for Newsom.
yeah,
This is what you're voting for. Like, how could we possibly have 25% of the homelessness and we're 1/50th of states?
yeah,
It's
yeah.
intentional.
That's what I'm saying. No, but I'm just saying there's plenty to attack them on, man. But
Yeah, we'll see if I mean, they will, but and it'll work for some people, but for some people, they're just going to go, you know what? I'm over it. I don't want to deal with Trump or Biden anymore. This guy looks good. Let's do it. And
yeah, they,
that's all it'll really take.
as
And
long as he, I guess, as long as he could
that's
talk,
what
and that's all it takes, man.
and that's why I'm saying this has been their plan for quite some time because it's a good plan. You know, it would be these people they're evil and disgusting people, but they're not stupid, right? So they're not sitting there going, yeah, let's keep Biden in office for 4 years. It's impossible for him to be president for 4 more years.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It's like it can't happen. He can't do it, right? So they're like, okay, you know, if he could do it, they would keep him. If he could just get a coherent sentence out here and there, they would keep him because he's under their control. But it's gone too far, and they can't keep fooling the American people. Even the bleeding heart liberals are like, hey, wait a minute. So they need somebody who can actually pretend to be president, and so
Yeah.
they're gonna move him out and move someone else in.
Yeah. I was about to say that was one of I thought that was one of the missed opportunities by Trump when he asked that question. You know, you guys are going to be old. You know, what do you say to the people that think you guys are too old to run the country? Trump should have been like, look, just look at me. Look at my campaigns. Look at me do anything. Look at me. Look, there's plenty of video of me interacting with the world and not, and then just compare that to him. But he started talking about, oh, I've done all these tests and I've won this
Well, I
competition.
mean,
And no,
the
I get his
funny
approach. He's still explaining himself and he's answering the question. But I thought he could have just been like, just look at me and look at him. Like, so it could have
Well,
been
the
shot at
ironic
Biden at
part
the same
about,
time.
I mean, so when he was president, the same people who say Joe Biden is fine said Trump isn't capable, right? He needs a test, or we're going to invoke the 26th Amendment on him, saying he's not able to do the job. Then he takes two cognitive tests and passes them with flying colors. Yet they never call for one with Joe Biden. They never talk about the 26th Amendment with Joe Biden, who is clearly not capable,
Yeah.
right? So you can see the ridiculousness of it. So I don't mind the way he answered that, but I agree he could have answered it. He could have been a little more depth. I like that he brought up the cognitive test because they're the ones that called for him.
He
Then he
could have
took them
answered
and
it. He
passed
could
them.
have answered it in a way where it was also a shot at Biden instead of just kind of trying to defend himself. Oh, you know, I've done this, I've done that, and because that question
Yeah,
itself is really more directed at Biden. There's no way people really question Trump's, mental state.
but they do. That's what I'm saying. They did. They
Oh,
did
well,
when he
yeah,
was
yeah, yeah.
president,
I
and
mean, all
they
real
still
people.
do
I mean, not
today.
in the media, they're using that as a shot, but regular people don't see that. You know what I mean?
Right.
But so anyway, I mean, so yeah, but at this point, they're saying that he's still on for a September debate. So at this point, they're still trying to stick with him, but we'll see if
No,
that
they're not.
happens.
What they did there was they said, okay, we're going to set the groundwork. This is a process. We set the groundwork with the debate. Now we're the American people, and we're going to go ahead and feed him that, hey, maybe he's too old. We're going to start feeding them this stuff. Maybe he's not capable, and it's a process. And then they have another time that they're going to actually, get him to step down. It's like a set time. right? So they didn't want him to step down right now. They just wanted to get it in people's minds that that's a very real possibility. They could get comfortable with it, get on board with it, right? If they did it right away and he stepped down the next day, it would have been like, wait, whoa, that was like it's going to be a shock.
Yeah.
But if you do a slower process, you get the wheels turning in people's brains, then they're going to be comfortable with the idea. And then when he does step down, they're going to be like, oh, yeah, okay, we saw this coming. And yeah, I'm comfortable with that. So, and the timing, once again, they don't want to do it too early because now you're going to have more time to vet Newsom. So it'll be closer to the convention, if not at the convention, that they do it. So it'll probably be in August that he steps down, because that, then people will be more comfortable with the idea. And, um, you have less time to vet, whoever their candidate is. I think it's Newsom, but whoever they're going to back, you have less time to even think about it.
Yeah.
So it's all about just making people feel comfortable with the idea. They started the process the other night, and now the process is in motion, and now they have a set time where they're going to just ramp it up and ramp it up and ramp it up, and then they'll get to the point where Biden says, you know what, yeah, you know what, it's been a great honor serving the country, and it's time I spent my twilight years with my family and et cetera, and you know. And everyone's going to applaud him, and they're all going to talk about how all his great achievements and all that, and it'll be a really nice way for him to step down in their eyes, and then but it's all a plan.
Yeah.
None of it's real.
Well, it caught me by surprise. I wasn't expecting that. But,
I mean, I knew
I
they
mean,
would do it, but I didn't know when.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, shit. I guess it's, yeah, I guess we'll see. I mean, at
I mean,
this
I
point,
knew it was before the election, so it had to be relatively soon. But I didn't. Like I said, when I watched the debate afterwards, I was like, well, for Biden, that was average. It's kind of normal. And they've been defending him every time he talks like that. So I totally thought they were going to defend him. Um, but they didn't, and so now I know that was the time. The process has started. The countdown is on.
yeah. Well, it's still going, so they're still, I guess, I haven't tuned into their channels, but I'm pretty sure they're not gonna let up on that.
Yeah, they'll probably they'll just keep doing it, keep talking about it, and um, probably increase over time over the next month or so.
You know,
And then, like I said, Biden will come out and have a press conference at the Rose Garden and talk about, what a great honor, and see you bye. I endorse Kamala. I endorse Newsom. I endorse whoever, and then we got a whole new presidential uh, debate and election than we
yeah,
thought we were going to have. I mean, it's not what I thought. I thought all along they were going to do this because I mean, when Biden, when Biden, even before he was president, I was like, what the hell? But since he's been president, it was like, yeah, there's no way he's not. They're not keeping him in. And now he's got minorities going against him. Trump's got more of the black vote than I think any president in history had. He's got half the Hispanics. They're losing. The Democrats are holding the rich. It's funny because Biden's like, well, we need to get the rich to pay their fair share. The Democrats are the party of the rich. I mean, name a company, a corporation that's not run by a Democrat,
yeah,
right? These guys are all super wealthy. All these politicians in the Democrat Party are all millionaires. They're all living lavish lifestyles. All the corporations are supporting them. So they are the 1%. He's not going to make them pay their fair share. They are him. They
yeah,
are part of that. So that's laughable to me as well. That's class warfare. But the ironic part is, it used to be true that the Republicans were the wealthier side. Now it's the Democrats. The Republicans are now the party of the people. And
yeah,
so he's gaining college educated people because these are people that are making money, and he's losing the inner cities, the minorities, and the poor. He's losing them in the middle class because now the Republicans are the party of the working. Even the president of the Teamsters uh, is
endorsing.
meeting with Trump.
Yeah,
Yeah. So you got the Teamsters that are backing Trump now.
yeah,
So And but Apple and Microsoft and Coca-Cola and all these major corporations, they're backing Biden. And but he's gonna make them pay more? No, they're the ones paying him to not make them pay more.
Yeah.
So the
Holy
Democrats
crap.
have no interest in making the rich pay their fair share. They are the rich.
Yeah. That is crazy.
Yeah.
Well, it's just crazier to be seeing it so clearly this time around. I think it's never been so obvious. They can't hide.
Well, and the thing that really pointed that out was the economy. Like, I don't care who you are. You could be a bleeding heart liberal who cares more about some guy in Venezuelan prison coming to America than you do about your own grandkids or kids. But at the end of the day, you go to the grocery store, you go to the gas pump, you go pay your rent or your mortgage or whatever. Anything you buy is stupid high. And I think that's what really made it clear to people. Look, we're in trouble. And
Yeah.
these are the guys causing it. The rich Democrats are robbing us blind, and they're bringing in people to take our jobs, to bring our middle class down, and to rig elections.
And to rape and murder our kids, shit, like
Yeah,
that's already
yeah.
happening every week now.
And they don't give a shit. They do not care. And that's what I'm saying. It's funny because they act like they care about people, right? The humanity of it. What about the people that are being victimized in the United States? You know what? Lots of people get victimized in the United States by United States citizens. Okay, but
Yeah.
there would be less. What there would be less of it, right? So
Yeah.
where's your humanity? Where's your humanity for them? And you liberals who are supporting this, where's your humanity for the people that are victims of crime here?
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. It's crazy stuff, man. Let me see.
From people and victims of fentanyl. Where's your humanity for that? You don't care, right? It's amazing to me the double standard they have. Now, I do care about people in general. I think everybody should. I wish everybody could have a good life, right? But you can only help so many people before you're destroying your own country. And that's exactly what they're doing, is intentionally destroying your country. And you think it's because they're trying to help people, but they don't even care about your own people, and they're going to take it away from your kids.
it's just. I mean, you could just chalk it up to just stupidity. No, it has to be just stupid
I
people.
mean,
Like
it,
what else could it?
it,
It has to
it's
be.
I mean, yeah, it's very ignorant people, willfully ignorant, who they get propagandized by, I'm on this team or that team. And I think that's a powerful thing. Like, people believe what they want to believe, not what is. If people, their emotions and their biases make more decisions than logic and truth.
Yeah.
And that's very common. Like, you'll notice, like, and anybody can do this thought experiment for themselves. Like, you'll notice if you're at work or wherever, you're around people that you see all the time. If somebody does something and you don't like that person, like, not anything bad, like, um just sort of something that annoys you at work. If it's a person you don't like, you're like, oh, that mother effer, right? But if it's
Yeah.
somebody you do like who does the same thing, you'll have a completely different reaction. You'll be like, that's annoying, but you know what? He's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So you'll let it go, right? But they did the same thing. That's the truth of the matter. It was the same exact behavior, but you have a bias towards one than the other. And that's why people are being led by their nose on this, is because they're letting their bias, and they don't understand it. They don't ever think about, their own implicit bias. We all have them. And you'll notice that if you do this thought experiment on yourself, how biased you are. Like, it's better to be liked than to be good. If you like somebody, you'll let them get away with the same stuff you won't let other people get away with.
Yeah. Yeah. I know what you mean. I know what you're talking about. Yeah, I've felt that way before. I mean, shit. Even with Trump, you already know how I felt about that, and now to understand him, and now I'm over here defending him all the time.
Yeah, that's a trip. Like, for listeners that are listening, I don't know, we probably went over this before,
Yep.
podcasts and podcasts ago, but yeah, we were on the different side of this. Like,
Yeah.
you and I used to have discussions about this all the time, and I was like, Fernando, Trump's good. Frickin' Biden's bad, dude. Like
Uh,
they are going after him for they're making crap up, and you were on the other side of it, and
I was just
but
I don't.
I commend you because you got through it where you're like, you know what, somewhere along the line you realized what was going on because you actually think and do your homework. And anybody who does that, it's only a matter of time till the truth is on their is in their lap and they're going to know, right?
Yeah,
And we're not right about everything. I'm not right about everything. Nobody is, but the majority of this stuff I think we were right about. And so yeah, that's just a trip that we were on the completely opposite side arguing with each other about this respectfully, but
no,
arguing about it nonetheless. And now we're on the same side. And I'm only on the side of what's right, America, doing what's right for the people, right? It will help as many people in other countries as we can. Great. But we can't sacrifice our own selves to do it. Otherwise, we won't be able to help anybody in the future.
yeah, yeah. Well, that's
What are your
definitely what
thoughts
they're.
on that?
Well, yeah, no, that's definitely I think what they're hanging on to is just people that just don't look deep into the facts and just use like you said, like
No, no,
just
no.
use
I
their.
was curious about what are your thoughts on like what made you change your mind?
Oh, what made me change my mind?
Yeah, I think
Well, if
people
you
will
remember our
want to know about
discussions,
that.
I was for sure strongly against Trump, but I thought something was going
Yeah.
on. I fell for the propaganda. I thought it was some sort of racial thing that was happening, and all of a sudden,
Mm-hmm.
these alt right, all that. Remember that march in oh, what the hell state was it? Well, all these alt right movements started happening, the Proud Boys, and I just thought something was happening. And I was like, these guys are trying to make it a racial thing that's going to take over the. I've always thought something was going to happen. You know what I mean? That it was going to be some sort of New World Order type situation. And back then, I didn't really like using New World Order or Illuminati or anything like that. I thought I looked at it more seriously. Like but then what I would always be surprised by was Trump's two things: Trump's policies that you would always bring up. So if you remember our discussions, you would always make sense. I was like, "Shit, you're right." You know what I mean? I wouldn't just dig my heels and be just on my position. You'd explain something, and I'd be like, "Fuck, that's true. That doesn't make sense." And like, Trump is doing like the right things and stuff like that. But damn, I just hate him. I just hate that he's doing that. All these racial things are happening, and I hate a lot of his supporters. The way they come out, how the way they are. And then the second thing that kind of had me just really confused was the people that didn't like Trump. Media didn't like Trump, and I was like, I thought that was really interesting. How the hell, if this guy's doing this, and it's going to be some sort of racial, superiority, all the rich, rich racists that we've always thought were there, they really are going to be using Trump to be their leader. Why the hell is media so against them? Why are certain Bill Crystal, the guy I've mentioned him before, William Crystal from forgot what newspaper he's from, hates Trump. All these people that I thought were bad guys are against Trump, and it would just made me always curious. Like, could I be wrong? Could it if these guys hate Trump, Trump must be doing something right. He must be doing something good. And just the more over time, and then also knowing that how hard the Democrats are going against them, but yet Democrats are for sexualization of children, like in schools. They're for this open border policy. They're for these trans this the LGBTQ movement, like almost they're letting them get away with so much stuff. And so I was like, that they are the wrong side. They are they're the ones with the worst
Yeah.
policies, and therefore they're against Trump. So it started making me pay attention more to what the hell is Trump doing, and I don't know when the hell it happened. I think it was, and I'd always listen to Trump's speeches. He always had good speeches at his rallies. I don't know if it was one particular man, one particular. I almost want to say that there probably is a speech that he gave that kind of just made me realize, dude, this guy's a real person. He actually is trying to do the right thing. Like, and I remember even my brother. My brother was with me too. Like, during his whole presidency, we were just talking crap about him, but he kind of realized the same thing too. Like, and I was surprised because we wouldn't really talk about details, but then he just started sending me clips, and I was like, yeah, bro, like I was thinking the same thing, and yeah, so at some point we just sort of just we woke up completely, and we realized Trump is trying to do the right policies, the common sense policies, and holy shit, if he's able to accomplish them, how much better will we be? And it's true, you know what I mean? Like the policies he's going for really are to improve the way of life here, and the and what people don't realize, I think I mentioned on the past shows, is that if he was able to do all these things, we could still help the rest of the world. We could still give aid to certain places, but the way they're going about it, they're trying to destroy the country and still claim that they want to, help the world in whatever way. But this way, by destroying the, nobody's gonna be saved. Everybody's gonna get it, So yeah, it was just listening to Trump and just listening to the policies and knowing who the how the real enemy was and what they were doing. I was able to wake up, man.
Yeah.
So, and here we are.
You know, like, so when we talk about people, like, we're like, oh, they're stupid because they can't see this stuff, right? It's and I was like saying it's their bias, but there's more. There's even another point to that, and I realized that when you're talking about what happened with you, because I'm in the same boat. So you and I'm not in the same boat that I was against Trump. I'm in the same boat that I had supported people that were corrupt. And
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
a really difficult thing for people to do that really holds them back is admitting that they're wrong about something, right? And when you dig your heels in super hard, like for Biden or whoever it turns out to be corrupt, even though it's obvious, it destroys your whole confidence in yourself and your own ability. So you were able to admit you're wrong, which is a really big credit to you. I was able to admit I was wrong about Bush, McCain, Romney. They're all dirtbags. Uh, McConnell, Graham, these guys are all corrupt. So a lot of the people I'll wear their T-shirt, put their bumper sticker on, go out there and tell everybody how great they are, and I was wrong. They were corrupt too, and the funny thing is, there's an evolutionary cause of this that goes deep into the brain that is over, the human existence. This evolutionary thing. It's called I forget the name of it, but it's um, anyway. The way it works is that from an evolutionary standpoint, as a human being, your brain is going to tell you you're right, even when you're wrong. And the reason it does that is because it gives you the confidence to still keep moving forward and making new decisions. And that's really what evolution wants, is for you to keep moving forward and surviving and reproducing so it can carry on with the species. So every species their ultimate goal is to reproduce and carry on. And if you go really hard on something to your core and you shout it from the rooftops, Biden, 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 and then all of a sudden you're like confronted with the facts, your brain is going to tell you, no, I'm right, I'm right, I'm right. But if you're aware of this, you can combat it and say, you know what, I can look at this logically,
Yeah,
and overcome that evolutionary part of my brain that is telling me no matter what decision I made, it's right. And it's an unconscious thing that's happening to it happens to everybody. And so it's a big credit. I always admire people who can say, you know what, I was wrong,
yeah,
because we're all wrong sometimes. And
yeah,
it's super hard to do because it's so deep within our evolution. So, and I think that's like a really big factor in this. People, they would go out into the streets. They've gone out into the streets and they protested and they gave it their all, and they knocked on doors, whatever. A lot of these people have gone so hard for what they believed in, that when you see a debate like that, or you see the country falling apart, or you're paying all these crazy prices, you realize China's infiltrating your country. All these things are bringing across criminals from um, open borders to change the demographics in the voting. Even with all that, it's your very identity is locked up in what you were doing. And
yeah,
so it's a threat to your identity and your ability to function as a human being to say, you know what, I was wrong.
yeah.
And I went hard for the people I was on board with, and I was wrong. And believe me, that is uncomfortable. But you're in a much better place and able to see things clearly when you're able to do that. So I think that's the gist of what you said there was that you know you,
Yeah, it
you know
was.
you're a person who can admit when he's wrong and you're better for it.
Yeah, well, I
Same
mean,
as me and a lot of people.
credit on both of us. Yeah, it always just I guess common sense always prevails. You know what I mean? If you really let it, then the kind of the unique, I guess the kind of the difference with me, I guess, is being having been a Trump hater during his presidency. It wasn't necessarily that I wasn't like a Democrat. I wasn't for any politician or nothing like that. It was just kind of what the perception of him, what they're trying to make it seem of him. I fell for it, and that's what, I mean, that that I should have known better. So I think I was able to not really be behind any particular politician. Think, oh, this guy's gonna make even Bernie Sanders or whoever the hell it was that was kind of more of a human, a candidate or politician. I didn't even know actually a lot of the Republican candidates that well. Like I wasn't too familiar with their policies and even their personalities and stuff like that the way I am now. So I guess it was just easier just to pay attention to his policies, and then just like I said, for his rallies, just hear him talk and the way he expressed things. I was just like, shit, this guy's like a real person. Like he's a genuinely real person, and his policies are all great. So
Yeah, and
yeah,
I would say so. I would put it to you like this: if I seen evidence like I've seen on Biden or a lot of different politicians, uh, if I seen evidence of Trump doing these things, I'd be the first one saying he's got to go. No, you know what I mean? I don't care who it is. I care about people, right, in the country. So you just got to be true to your ideals, not to
yeah, yeah,
the propaganda that's being spit out there. And like the people coming across the borders, man. Like when I see like videos of little kids in other countries or women or anybody, even a man who's suffering, right? It bothers me. I
yeah,
want to help them. I want to help everybody I can help. But that's not why they're doing what they're doing. If that was why they're doing what they're doing, I would still have a problem with it because it's too many too fast and it can overload the system and then we're not going to be able to help people for very long. But if you do it in a reasonable way, I have no problem with people coming from wherever they're coming from if they're actually in need, and we can bring them in and help them without destroying our country. Great, that's awesome. We should help those people, and I don't care about skin color. That's irrelevant. God made us all. So he didn't make a mistake, right? So whenever people start talking to me about skin color, always like, so you'll talk to me about skin color in the same sentence you want to talk to me about God. So you're saying God was wrong, right? You know what I mean? It makes no sense, and people don't really think that much. But yeah, if Trump was if there was evidence on Trump of taking money from China, Russia, or all these other
yeah.
litany of things that, these other politicians, I would be the first one standing up going, nope, because he's a bad person. He's corrupt. He's not going to do what's best for us. So
Yeah,
he's got to go. We want someone who's going to do that. It doesn't matter who the person is, just what they're going to do.
yeah, yeah. Yeah. If there was anything on him, it would have came out by now. So it's just knowing, yeah, that he really he wasn't a corrupt person his whole life. Anything he'd done in his whole life would have came out by now if he'd been corrupt or just been just as crooked as these politicians. And so it was just
I
that,
feel
yeah.
good though. I feel good. I feel it made me feel kind of good that like you said that like some of the stuff I talked to you, you were like thinking about it. You're like, yeah, that makes sense. Because when
Oh
I
yeah, bro.
remember talking with you, we were always respectful, and I always respected you because you knew a lot. You did a lot of homework, and I knew what they were doing to you because you're Latino, and they're like, oh, Trump's a racist, right? They use that. These racists use race to divide, but I wasn't sure. I don't know that I knew that any of it was getting through to you. But what I was
Oh
saying
yeah,
that you
bro.
were actually going, wait, that's a good point. I don't know. But I knew that you're unlike most people in that regard that you'll listen and you'll go and do your homework. And so, yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah, no, those stuff. That's what I was telling you. Like that's the stuff that kept getting me. As much as I was falling for the propaganda that he was a racist and all that, and just his tweets and just all the way he presented himself, his policies. When he brought up certain details of stuff like that, I was like, shit. Like how the hell could it be? Like I was just conflicted in my own brain. Like he seems like he's a racist. So is he doing it just for the white race? But no, like his policies are like they're fair, like across the board. They don't, they're not for any particular race. They're actually just for Americans. Like that's it. Like
Right.
it's, so yeah, it was undeniable. Like just to hear his approaches to things, and there's no way I could just keep lying to myself. Like no, like he's not. He really isn't. I'm not hearing what I'm hearing. Like I can't do that to myself. So maybe that's there's some people that don't pay attention to that part of their brain, and those are the ones that are falling for this bullshit now. But I guess just wasn't one of those people. It's funny, bro. I
Like
still
I said,
remember.
man, go
Go
ahead.
ahead. I was gonna
No,
say
go
I
ahead.
still remember the first time we talked about this. It was they were going after Trump's son for having met with some sort of Russian
Oh, in Trump
official.
Tower.
Yeah, Trump Tower. Remember that? And I think
Yeah.
I forgot what act it was. Something from like the 1800s. Some sort of Hatch Act. No, not Hatch Act. It was some sort of act. I forgot what it was that you can't meet with. You can't meet kind of as a representative of the United States, and they were accusing him of that because he was a son of the guy that was running for president. And so I remember I don't know if you were talking about Trump or something, I expressed that opinion. Oh yeah, no, he's gonna get convicted for this. And I remember you came over to my table, and I don't know if you thought you were just gonna mop the floor with me, but I think we had like a civil conversation, and I remember feeling like you were surprised that I knew as much as I did, because I kind of like
Yeah.
I laid down the whole basically what their argument was against Trump Jr. And you're like, okay, well, like I think you felt like you understood what that argument was, but I think you thought I wasn't gonna know crap. So, but yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
I
no.
thought that was
Well, you know why? Because I've been talking to people like since I was, 18 and I first voted, and I was wrong about all those politicians back then, Bushes and whatever, but I still paid attention to everything going on, and so I my whole life I've been talking to people about these sorts of things,
no.
and it's very rare that I come in contact with somebody who actually is informed.
Yeah, same
Um,
here. No.
so it's a surprise. It was a bit of a surprise to me in that regard. Um,
Oh yeah, bro. That's exactly why I wanted this show, bro. I had nobody to talk to, just
yeah,
except for my girl. Just tell her what my opinions were. I'm like, but shit, I'm telling her what I feel. What if I'm wrong? What if I'm over here just bottling in a bottle with my opinions, man? I gotta get this information out somehow, man. And I knew you were gonna be the only one, as far as people I've met that just like me do their homework and just give a shit about what's happening. Most people are just like, oh yeah, I heard about that, and oh that's crazy, I hate that, but that's it. That's as far as most people go with politics, man. They don't really care, man.
yeah. I remember when we talked about Nixon, and you kind of blew my mind when you're like, um,
Oh yeah,
you're like, oh, Nixon was framed, and then you started breaking it down, and I had never heard any of that. Never really looked into Nixon that hard, and I was like, I always thought that it was weird because Nixon got uh,
he.
the biggest landslide election ever. Yet why
Oh
would
yeah.
he be spying? But at the same time, then I was like, so this guy does his homework. He's backing Nixon, who's a Republican. So, but then now he's against Trump, and I was like, what is going on here? Like
Yeah,
he
exactly.
he should be able, to,
That's what I was telling myself. Like, what the hell? Like, my own perspective on things don't even doesn't even make sense. Like, so there was only one obvious conclusion is that Trump is on the level. Trump is on the level, and I'm falling for
yeah.
the propaganda. The one thing that's puzzling me that why the hell is the whole media against Trump, but yet at the same time I'm falling for their propaganda. So I wasn't being clear to myself as far as what was confusing me.
Well, I would say this, like you know, it would be really. I mean, I don't blame people for falling for it, especially in the beginning, because they went so hard and so overwhelming that it would be difficult. Like if you're Mexican or black, like the stuff they were putting out there was like so overwhelming and it was everywhere that it would be hard not to fall for that. But it shouldn't take, I would think in my mind, it shouldn't take too long before you start realizing the BS. And so you did, but other people, they're still on board with it. Like,
Yeah.
and so, and that, once again, that comes down to their brain defending themselves against being wrong. And that's really what's going on there is it would crumble their world, that they're wrong about something like this. So, but actually, if they did it, it wouldn't actually crumble their world. It would strengthen them and they would be a stronger person for it. But it's hard to do.
There's one other policy that I remember really kept me open minded about Trump. That I remember this was his approach to China. Before Trump, I was saying that forever. I was saying that since like 2000, the 2008 election. I was already kind of against all these companies going to China using slave labor, obviously affecting our economy and our job force over here. So I thought that was a big issue, and I remember being happy that I found out that there's books. I remember, or I saw afterward. I found out that there was a documentary, so it was definitely like a serious issue. And then so hearing Trump's approach and then the way he conducted his how he treated China, basically with the tariffs and all that shit, and wanting jobs to come back from China and doing incentives for that. I thought like damn, like that's one of the other things that really kind of kept me like, oh, damn, Trump's doing the right. He is doing the right thing. You know what I mean? I forgot about that. That was one of the other issues.
And
But
then
yeah,
you turn on ABC, CBS, NBC, CNN, any of them, they're like, Trump's a racist,
yeah, that's all you would hear. That's
you
all it
know?
was all about.
Yeah,
But then
so
kind
it
of kind of
was
going
it
back
was
to what you're saying about Nixon, what I felt, yeah, just always feeling kind of like not even confused, I guess, but just surprised that what I'd learned about Nixon, that he was another person that was on level. He tried to do the right things, and that for sure he was set up, for, from my conclusion, everything that I'd researched. But then his his reputation in American history now since then has been he's like the Hitler of the United States, for this whole time. Like every time anything negative can be brought up around that era, they blame it on Nixon. Oh, Nixon was bad. Nixon is just the fall guy for every bad thing that's happened to this country. And then just seeing that that's kind of what's happening to Trump. That's what they were doing to Trump during his first 4 years. That kind of was puzzling to me too. Like Nixon was good, but the media and his whole reputation they made it bad. But I know I researched a lot of Nixon, so I know that he wasn't. And now, the same shit's happening again with Trump. They got another evil guy that they all hate. So could he be on the level? And then yeah, sure enough, we'll start hearing policies like China, the stuff that you kept bringing up to me. It was this is all even before all the indictments and shit that had already kind of been on the side. So once the indictments started happening, it was just for sure it's the lock, man. That the people against them are the evil ones. They're the ones that are against this country and what we're supposed to be standing for and stuff like that, man. So yeah, so
yeah, even in the beginning, like when he ran for president, when they had the primaries back in 2016, I I I mean, I'm listening to Trump, but I'm kind of like, I don't know, right? This is the guy who did the TV show, whatever, the boss or whatever, you're fired.
yeah,
I don't know, right? I didn't have a dislike for him, or I wasn't really, like pushing for Trump. I voted for Ted Cruz for president. So I wasn't even on board with Trump, but once he became the nominee, now I'm paying more attention to him because he's the nominee, and I was like, oh, okay, yeah, yeah, yeah. And it actually turned out better. It's probably better than Ted Cruz, but I really like Ted Cruz, so that's who I was on board with.
no,
Um, but Trump turned out really well, and once I realized that, I was like, whoa, this guy's wow. I mean, he's so he's so American, so freedom and liberty based that who's against that,
Yeah.
right? Like all he wants is for everyone to have a good life, be free, be able to make your own decisions, be able to afford things. Like this is what he's for, right? Like and so and the whole thing with Nixon, to get back to that real quick, is like so our whole podcast series started with JFK, and so it leads up to this. And so anytime you have a president who's like Trump, who's for the people, for freedom, for liberty, for a good lifestyle, they get rid of him. They killed JFK.
Yeah.
They framed Nixon, got him thrown out. They shot Reagan, didn't work. He survived, so they had to just deal with it until they got him out. Once his term came up, and now Trump, you got all these indictments. You got more indictments on him than you have on Al Capone. You got
Yeah.
like 90 something indictments. I think it's probably more indictments than anybody's ever had in the history of the human race. And anybody who's on board saying Trump's bad, he deserved to
Yeah.
be indicted. Where are the bodies? What did
Yeah.
he do to deserve 91, 92 indictments?
That makes no
Really?
sense. Yeah.
Like you got mass murderers, cartel members, mafia members, just the worst criminals in history didn't even have this many indictments and face this much time. So if you can't see how corrupt that is, but
It's ridiculous.
that's what
Yeah.
the government does is it's like the rich and elite, if you're not doing serving them as president, they get rid of you. If you're serving the people, the middle class and the poor, they get rid of you. And so all these middle class liberals out there who are like Trump's bad, look, he's the one trying to help you, and anytime you get a president that's trying to help you, they get rid of him.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter Republican, Democrat. Kennedy's a Democrat. Nixon's a Republican, right? Generally, it's Republicans who are more liberty based, but it wouldn't matter what party they're for. If a Democrat came in and was like Trump or like Kennedy or like Nixon or like Reagan, they would get rid of him because it's not a party issue. It's the rich versus everybody else. You're not rich. Why are you towing the line for them? The
Yeah.
Republicans aren't the party of the rich either. So why are you towing the line for the rich? And then they'll actually say, we're going to tax the rich. And, so let me get this straight. You're going to tax yourself and all the people who support you and actually control you. You're going to take their money away and give it to the people that don't. It makes no sense.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's all just a bunch of little things. Yeah. Just kind of accumulated. Um,
It's a very and it's become very clear to me. The beauty of Trump is like he broke it all out into the open. Like I knew the Kennedy thing. I can remember back in the day. Like I've been looking at him since I was 18. Like you know what I mean? Like that assassination. And I remember thinking to myself, until the United States government reveals what happened to Kennedy, they can't be trusted, right?
yeah.
So, so this has been going on forever. And we just didn't know it. But Trump, when he came in office, he's like, "I'm going to expose all this stuff. I'm going to show everybody what's going on," and that's what he did,
Yeah.
and that's why they're after him so hard. Not just because he's not toeing the line, but he also brought it out into the open. So now you can see a clear picture that from Kennedy and maybe before, I don't know, but we can at least start with Kennedy. From him through now, any president who is doing the will of the American people and not the rich has
Yeah.
been eliminated.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then you
Well.
got people, the regular people out in the streets protesting and supporting this stuff because they don't want to be wrong. That's the whole thing. They just don't want to be wrong. They can't handle it. It's sad, man. It's too bad.
Well. It's crazy. Yeah. I remember, but I still remember also hearing this. Like I told you, I would listen to all of his speeches during the 2016 campaign, and I always remember thinking like they're good, they're entertaining. Like he's saying some good stuff, but yeah, I was just kind of like stuck in my, what I felt back then. But
Yeah, but like I said, like my main point on that last little bit there, I don't know if I made it, but because of Trump, he pulled the people out of the shadows and put them in the light, right? So now, like when I was confused about the Kennedy thing, and I didn't even really pondered the Nixon thing and the Reagan. I thought, they just some crazy guy shot him. But now, and even RFK, I knew something was up with that. But now I can see it. Now the whole picture comes into focus since 1960s to now, right? I could see the whole picture, and Trump is the one that was able to make that picture. He put it into focus where it was blurry before. And so now I can see a clear picture of what the United States government's been doing for decades. They've been doing this.
Yeah.
And I fell for it too. Yeah, go Bush, go Bush, go Bush. That dude's corrupt as hell. Both of them.
Yeah.
But I would have argued till the end of days that Bush is the man before. So it was really hard for me to make that switch, but I can see it now. Corrupt. They're the rich. I'm not. You know, it's just that simple. This isn't about race. This isn't about uh, religion. This isn't about anything other than money and power. It's about the rich in America versus the rest. They've been controlling everything for your entire lives, unless you're older than the early 60s. But for most of us, it's been our entire lives. They've been controlling things, and anybody who got in the way got eliminated.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
give Trump, man, they've been trying their damnedest, and that dude's hanging on. Anybody else would have walked away.
Yeah.
Probably anybody on the planet. I'm a billionaire, and they're coming after me with all this stuff. If I walk away, I just go live my billionaire lifestyle. Anybody would have walked away.
Yeah.
He's doing this for us, man. I mean, I almost like God send. What a patriot.
Yeah. Really. Um,
I
yeah.
mean,
That's.
patriot of patriots. He's going to be immortalized in history. 50 years, 100 years from now, we'll all be gone, most of us. And when they talk about, if you brought up Biden, they'd be like, who? You bring up Trump, they're going to be like, oh yeah, the guy, oh that legend, that gigantic figure in history. They've
Yeah.
they've created. He has created himself into that, and they have created him.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember thinking. Around that time, I started supporting him. That this guy really is going to go down as probably the number one person that lived the American dream. Like he was a businessman. Successful his whole life. Yeah, he started with a little bit of money from his dad and stuff like that, but he maintained it. You know what I mean? He did good. He did good work. His reputation around like society, politicians. He did everything. You know what I mean? He kept a low cover, and from what we found out now that he pretty much lived like a righteous life, other than maybe a little infidelity here and there, but he wasn't. There's no rumors of him having murdered people or being violent in any sort of way. He's always had these America First ideas since the '80s, and then for a person like that wasn't necessarily in politics, didn't really want to be a politician, even though he was around them, to become president after learning what we're learning now, that he completely disrupted the system. It was a fluke that he became president, but he did. That's what we all imagined any one of us could do. That we could just be good people, and then maybe any one of us could be president of the United States. But we know now that's not the case. Not everybody could be president. You have to be a complete sellout person, to be president. And this guy made it through. So, yeah, for sure, he's gonna go down as one of the greatest people that's lived
Yeah, it may be
in
the
a.
greatest. I mean, look, this
Yeah.
guy, he's a billionaire, and he put
And
his
hold on,
own
people are gonna think
life
that
on
we're
the
over here.
line.
We're part of a cult for talking like this. It's the fact.
No,
It
but
really it
well,
really
it's
has nothing
facts.
to do
Like
with cult shit. Yeah.
this is just facts, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And anybody who's listening who disagrees, correct me where I'm wrong. He's a billionaire, fact.
Yeah.
He has already been president, fact. He put his own life on the line and his freedom on the line
Yeah.
to help America because he doesn't need to do it. He's already done it, right? He's already been at the top. He doesn't need to do it again. What's he going to do? Be at the top twice? He already did it. He's already been president. He's a billionaire. These are all facts. So why in the world would he put his own freedom on the line and take this barrage like as if he's a Russian political figure or a Chinese political figure trying to oust Putin? That's
Yeah.
what they're treating him like. These are facts.
Yeah.
So this guy has put his life on the line for us with for no reason of his own. Like he can't really benefit from this at all. And I actually was talking to somebody the other day. He's like, "Yeah, but if he's president, then he can move stuff around so he can get contracts for his family. He's a billionaire. He can't even spend all the money he has. Why would he need to do that? He doesn't need to do that,
Yeah.
right? He's not doing it for money. He has more money than he can spend, right? So there's no motivation for him to do this, and other than to save America from the tyranny of the elite and rich.
Yeah.
And so yeah, and so yeah, his status in history, it's going to be gigantic, and they may consider him the greatest patriot and president of the United States history because nobody has been put through what he's been put through probably ever anywhere, and he still stands firm
Yeah.
and won't back down. And the more he does that, the clearer this picture becomes because they have to go at him and go at him and go at him. And now people are like, hey, these indictments are bullshit. He even said that in the debate. Like, you can go ahead and indict me all you want, and my polls go up and my money goes up, right? Because Americans don't believe it. And if you do believe it, you're choosing to be ignorant. He has no reason to want to be president other than it will help you.
Yeah. There's one other thing that I actually liked a lot about him, and even when I hated him, when I used to, like I said, like I used to watch all of his speeches that I liked about what was entertaining. He's funny. He's actually funny as hell. Every time
Oh
he
yeah.
gets a chance to talk, he'll say something that's genuinely like funny. You know what I mean? And you don't really hear that from somebody in his position and shit like that. But he's always been funny. Back in, I think I told you back, I used to listen to Howard Stern back in the days. He used to always go on there. Oh my god, he would crack me up. The shit that he would say, man. But so he's got that for those people also that think this is it's not a cult. I'm not a no damn cult. It's just you just see what it
Hey, did
is.
you
And that's
know that? Did you know that he's the only president that doesn't have descendants of slave owners?
oh really? Yeah, yeah. Well, he's
The only president ever. Even Obama's descendants had slaves.
yeah. Well, yeah, that's probably
But
why.
he's the racist. I mean, doesn't mean he couldn't be racist, but you know what I mean. If his family had slaves, you would have never heard the end of that. But
Yeah,
Obama's family had slaves.
yeah.
You didn't hear a word about it. You can see how biased and ridiculous it all is.
Well, hey Dan, we got 8 minutes left, and I was wondering if you wouldn't mind. Maybe we could end on this note. Basically,
Okay.
one of the speeches I heard he had didn't. I forgot what month this was. This might have been in 2019. He did this speech. I'll find it out later. But he did a speech, and at the end of it, he played some music in his background. Like what we're doing with this show. He played some music while he ended his speech. I thought it was like so. It was just such a nice touch, man, and the stuff that he was saying, the way he said it, I was like, damn, this guy's deep, man. Like the things he's saying. So I ended up finding the music that he used, and I downloaded the video, and I did my little edits that I do, and I put the music behind the end of his speech. Would you mind? Would you be cool with the ending the show this way? Maybe just
Yeah,
go
that
off on
sounds
this.
good to me, man. It sounds perfect.
Yeah, so check this out, and we'll just end with the show with this, and I'll hit you up after, brother. But hopefully you can hear it. Hopefully it all works
All
out.
right.
I uploaded it right. So, all right, my
All
brother.
right.
So good show, and here we go with a speech that Trump did. I think might have been in 2019, and just a little edit I did. So check this out.
All right. All right.
We'll start right now.
We are a nation that has weaponized its law enforcement against the opposing political party
Can you
like
hear that?
never before.
Yeah.
Okay.
We've got a Federal Bureau of Investigation that won't allow bad election changing facts to be presented to the public, and a Department of Justice that refuses to investigate egregious acts of voting irregularities and fraud.
He
And
had
we
this
have a
music
president
at that
who
rally
is
back, but
That's cool, yeah.
cognitively
And I made it
impaired
louder.
and in no condition to lead our country, and everybody knows it. We are a nation that no longer has a free and fair press. Fake news is all you get, and they are truly the enemy of the people. We are a nation where free speech is no longer allowed, where crime is rampant like never before, where the economy has been collapsing, where more people died of COVID in 2021 than did in 2020. We are a nation that is allowing Iran to build a massive nuclear weapon, which they are incredibly being allowed to do right now in China, to use trillions and trillions of dollars that is taken from us to build a military to rival our own. And just 2 years ago, we had Iran, China, Russia, and North Korea in check. They weren't going to do a thing against us, and everybody knows it. And perhaps most importantly, we are a nation that is no longer respected or listened to around the world. We are a nation that in many ways has become a joke. We are a nation that is hostile to liberty, freedom, and faith. We are a nation whose economy is floundering, whose stores are not stocked, whose deliveries are not coming, and whose educational system is ranked at the bottom of every single list. But we are not going to let this continue. 2 years ago, we had the greatest election that we've ever had, but it was taken away from us. We weren't allowed to use the power of the people to make America great again. 2 years ago, we also had greatness like no one had ever seen. And soon we will have that greatness again.
He hadn't even announced he was running again.
It was hardworking patriots like you who built this country, and it is hardworking patriots like you who are going to save our country. We will stand up to the radical left lunatics and the rhinos, and we will fight for America like no one has ever fought before. There is no mountain we cannot climb. There is no summit we cannot reach. There is no challenge we cannot meet. There is no victory we cannot have. We will not bend, we will not break, we will not yield. We will never give in, we will never give up. We will never, ever, ever back down. As long as we are confident and united, the tyrants we are fighting do not stand even a chance. Because we are Americans, and Americans kneel to God and God alone. My fellow citizens, this incredible journey we are on together has only just begun, and it is time to start talking about greatness for our country again. We are one movement, one people, one family, and one glorious American nation. So with the help of everyone here today and citizens all across our land, we will make America powerful again. We will make America wealthy again. We will make America strong again. We will make America proud again. We will make America safe again. And we will make America great again. Thank